Right, now you've got a goal and an outcome, but hey, it's not a goal or an outcome yet, because there's certain rules that we need to look at. Now, there is the SMART goal system that we're going to look at later on in this video series, but first of all, let's take a look at your outcome based on the well-formedness conditions, which you'll find on page 16. So the well-formedness conditions of an outcome. First of all, number one, it needs to be stated in the positive. So stated in the positive, what does that mean? It means it has to be only what you want. So if you wanted to move on from a sadness that you've had and you wanted to be happy, you wouldn't want to write into your goal, and I'm not sad anymore. Because mentioning sadness in your goal is not stated in the positive. If you wanted to pay off all your debt, that's not how you would write your goal. You don't want to write debt into your goal because I'm sure you don't want any more debt. So stated in the positive means that you would be financially free, financially independent. You would write your goal in some way, shape or form that would tell you and anybody else who would read your goal exactly what it is that you're going to achieve. Not being in debt anymore is the principle of don't think of a blue tree. If you're focused on not being in debt, what are you focused on? Correct. Debt. And if you don't want debt, you're probably far more likely to generate even more debt by having it languaged into your goal or to be an important part of the focus that you're generating. So, stated in the positive. Number two, specify present situation. So where are you now? Now, this is an interesting thing. If I was a plane and I was taking off from Heathrow and my end destination was New York, you see, if I only specified New York as my outcome, that's only one thing, isn't it? If I don't know where I'm taking off from, what's the chances of me getting to New York? Non-existent. So in having the journey's end be stated, I need to know exactly where I'm starting from in the first place. Now, this isn't a rule of thumb, although men have a tendency to be overly bullish, women have a tendency to be overly understated in who they are, what they're capable of, and where they are. You need to be honest about where you are now. You see, because if you plot a course from Heathrow to New York, but you're actually in Gatwick, and you're not admitting you're in Gatwick, and you put in the coordinations from New York as if you were in Heathrow, you're never going to get to your end destination. So you need to have an honesty about where you're at now, and it needs to be an associated honesty and sensory based. You may need to ask a friend. Number three is you need to specify the outcome. So specify the outcome is the SMART goal system, which we will be going through later. But it needs to be said as if now. It needs to be meaningful, it needs to be measurable. You need to have an energy that you're willing to put into it. Are you excited? Are you passionate? You know, if it would be good, then that's not really going to drive the goal. Measurable is having an outside of self check that it's not just your own imaginary fantasy that has happened. You need to have some way of proving to yourself that it is real. And as if now is interesting because it needs to be stated as if now. So as if you've already achieved it. It's a little bit like positive affirmations, but not positive affirmations. See, positive affirmations are a little bit flawed in the fact that I'm not saying they're good, bad, or indifferent. They're just a little bit flawed. If you, say, had a positive affirmation where you're driving a brand new car, say you wanted a brand new BMW car, if you created your outcome as being, I'm driving my brand new BMW Z4 car, if you use that as if now as a positive affirmation, so every time you're out in your car, you're saying to yourself, I'm driving my brand new BMW Z4 car. your unconscious mind will say, no, you're not, you're in an issing, because it's just not true. We do have a formula to get round as if now. Don't worry about that now. You're going to get that when we go through the SMART goal system. Number 4 is specify the evidence procedure. What will you be seeing, hearing and feeling that tells you that you've created your outcome? How will you know? Now, especially if it's an emotional-based outcome. See, emotional-based outcomes can be a bit ambiguous. A lot of people make the mistake of putting comparatives into emotional-based outcomes. I want to be happier. Happier. Well, what if I just gave you a tickle? Would that be your goal delivered? So you need to be specific about how you know that your life's now at the level of happiness that you desire. Happier as a comparative has no real defined measure. You could laugh at a funny joke and your unconscious mind can think you've delivered on your goal. So make sure that you understand what is the evidence procedure that tells you you've achieved it. The next step is it congruent? Is it congruently desirable? Is it something that fits for you in all facets of your life? And is it something that's good for you, your family, the community at large, your business? So is it something that you are congruent with? Or is it something that there's conflict within the outcome itself? So we don't want to be creating outcomes that are conflicting. Next step, is it appropriately contextualized? Now, what does that mean? Well, where, whom, when, in what context is that goal or outcome going to be realized? Do you understand all of the components that are held within that outcome for you and the context that it's going to be relevant for? Step number 8, what resources are required? You see, you can create an outcome without knowing the how. Yep, so you've got your outcome. It looks great, fabulous. When you go to reverse engineer it to where you are now, there may be skill sets that are lacking. There may be certain things that you need to know first. So what resources are you going to require to easily make that outcome possible for you? You may need to set other goals around other outcomes that need to be accomplished first that will then make that outcome easy to create into a reality. And step 9, the final check, you need to look at the ecology of it. What will happen if you do get what you want? What will happen if you don't get what you want? What will that mean for everybody around you in the life that you have in other contexts and other areas of your life? So know that there is an ecology to the outcome that you're going to now expend energy in creating for yourself. In understanding all of that now, if you turn over to page 17, you'll look at the well-formedness conditions. Step number 1, stated in the positive. Step number 2, self-initiated and self-maintaining. You see, if you create a goal and an outcome that requires other people, see, you can't control free will. You cannot control another human entity. You can attempt to influence them, but you can't guarantee the outcome that that's going to create, because they have free will. You have to respect free will. So your goals and outcomes, for you to be in full control of them, they need to be all about you. They need to be self-initiated by you, and they need to be self-maintained by you. If you have a goal, by the way, you can have goals and outcomes that include other people, but you need to have negotiated with those other people in the first place. You need to create that goal together with that other person and make it a joint goal that you both understand and that you both desire to create. So your goals need to just be all about you, and you need to recognize that you're not mentioning other people in your goals as an important component to the structure of your goal becoming a reality. Step 3, it needs to be a specific sensory-based representation of the goal. No ambiguities. There's no space for ambiguities in your goal. That's S specific of the SMART goals system. Your goal needs to be specific, but specific in a sensory-based way. What's tangibly real and what's hallucinatory. I had a person in a master practitioner training who was very proud of the goal that they created, and they created a goal saying that they were now coaching full-time as their main source of income. And I then said to them, is the coaching netball? And they said, no, well, obviously not. It's coaching using NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, and NLP coaching. I said, well, it's not written in your goal. It's not sensory-based and specific. 4, ecological, which we've discussed at length. So ensuring that your goal is ecological for more than just you and your family, because there's more than just you and your family. You're an integral part of significantly more than just that. So look at the ecology of all that you're looking to create and know that it fits for you in the end outcomes that may be created because of it. Step 5 is make sure that there's more than one way to get it. By the way, with most of our goals and outcomes, there's 100 different ways that can become a reality for you. And your interaction unconsciously with the universe at large in manifesting your outcome, it will deliver it in whatever way it can deliver it for you. And you want to make sure that you're appreciative and celebrate it. As I say, if you wanted a brand new Mercedes, brand new BMW car, and you end up with a brand new Mercedes, you can't really say that my goal didn't work, because you've got a brand new car of like. So we don't want to get tied up in this goal setting process didn't work because it delivered something that wasn't to the letter exactly what I asked for. It's comparative. Step number 6 is those incremental steps towards your outcome. If you create an outcome that's maybe a year out from now or maybe 3 years out from now, the chance of you truly believing that you can create it might be on shaky ground. So you need to recognize that there is an element of doubt, which may be realistic doubt, because there's lots of other things you need to achieve between now and then that will facilitate that goal becoming a reality. So you need to then make incremental goals, and the first goal, the first achievable outcome that's on the way to the big goal must be achievable. You must have 100% belief in your ability to create it for yourself. And finally, just because we're NLP practitioners, just because we look at the ecology for everybody, number 7 is it has to increase choice for your life. You don't want to create outcomes and goals that are going to diminish all that's possible for you. You want to create outcomes and goals that help you to grow and develop and increase your choices in all that you can achieve going forward. So, what I'd like you to do now is take the goal that you wrote earlier and revisit it and go through these points and see how well your goal matches up to the criteria that is desired to create the perfect goal, and create any changes that need to be created.